Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and first look of the Fighttips Hybrid MMA Gloves, so stay tuned.
Uber up the styles like miles and shit, like 60s funky worms with waves and perms, just sending junky rhythms.
Hey, what's going on guys? Carlo here, and today I'm excited to bring you guys an unboxing and first look of these Fighttips Hybrid MMA Gloves. Shout out to Shane over at Fighttips for doing another round of release of their hybrid style MMA gloves as well as their lace-up training gloves. If you've been a follower or subscriber to my channel, you may or may not have seen I did a review on their 16-ounce lace-up training gloves a little while back, and I was really impressed by the quality and just the overall fit, finish, and performance of those gloves. I use those primarily for sparring and doing some bag work. But the reason I wanted to get in on these hybrid MMA gloves is because of the nature of how the gloves are designed. You can use them if you're doing any kind of cross training or kind of cross workout at your gym. So maybe you're not focused on doing bag work or mitt work that day, and you want to kind of put in some strength training or some kind of cardio or plyometrics. You can do that while wearing these gloves and throw in some bag training as well. So without further ado, let's open this box up and see what's on the inside. Got my handy knife here, and as always, remember, be careful when you open these boxes. The last thing you want to do is cut right into it and end up cutting what's on the inside, which would be the gloves. As you can see, here's a standard, cardboard box shipped via United States Postal Service, but it does have this cool personalized Fighttips tape on here to tape it up. So I'm gonna open her up and check it out. Alright, let's just sit aside. See on the inside here, nothing really much to it. You can see that it has the hybrid MMA gloves. I got them in medium. You can see there the sizing. These come in small, medium, large, and XL, and they are advertised as a 7-ounce glove. So I'm not sure if the actual sizing changes the weight of the glove or the composition of the foam that gives the weight of the glove. Maybe a little bit if you go from like a small to an extra large. I would assume there's a little bit more material used in the larger gloves, but I would assume it wouldn't be that much more as far as weight difference goes. So go ahead and take this out. These hybrid MMA gloves, after tax, they're about $75, with shipping. So pretty good price, all things considered, as far as shipping goes and the cost of the gloves itself. So you get the little invoice here from Fighttips, and then of course you have the gloves themselves. And here is the first look of how they look. So really nice presentation. You can see that Fighttips uses this really cool packaging. Pretty standardized as far as boxing or MMA gloves go. It's almost like a dual purpose. It comes packaged in it, but it also has the mesh side. So if you like to repack your gloves after using them, I know most guys just use their gloves and toss them into their gym bag. But if you don't, and you're kind of a stickler for taking care of your gloves, it's nice because it comes with this little carrying case that has a mesh material on here, so it at least allows your gloves to air out, so it doesn't get really stinky on the inside there. I'm going to open it up. This bag to the side, and then you can see that it comes plastic wrap. Again, you can see that I got this in medium. Sizing wide, it just goes by the distance of your hand between your palm. So when I measured, I'd measured from the outside of my hand towards the inside, and that's how you get the actual width or the measurement of what size you should get. So based on that, Fighttips recommended that I got size medium. Open this up real quick. Got a little silica packet. Gotta have that. And here is the right glove, and here's the left. So it smells real good, man. And you can see these are the hybrid MMA gloves. Yeah, and right off the bat, they look like a mini version of those 16-ounce lace-up training gloves that I got. You can see the actual leather material they use is really nice. Has a very nice, soft, smooth feel to it. And just like my 16-ounce lace-up training gloves, the leather here has a matte look and feel to it. And then the upper part right here, where the knuckle or the actual impact part of the glove is, it has kind of a dipped rubberized material. If you guys have seen more of my recent videos I did on those newer style Venom Pro boxing gloves, this almost looks identical as far as just the kind of leather, as well as this layer that is kind of dipped over the leather, and you can see it kind of looks like a patent leather, but it has a coated feel to it, kind of like some of those Century martial arts sparring gloves that you might see that are dipped in that rubberized material. That kind of reminds me of what they use here on these fight tip gloves. So you can see that the craftsmanship looks really good. The lace-up training gloves that I used before were made in Pakistan, and these are as well. You can see that it has the Pakistani logo. I would say about 85 to 90% of boxing gloves, or just boxing equipment in general, is made in Pakistan from what I've found and what I've seen from all my reviews in the past. And but nonetheless, they make a really nice quality product. You can see the stitching is pretty good throughout the glove. There's some areas, maybe around this thumb area here, that has some of the stitches that could be done a little bit cleaner. Nothing that should affect performance. It's just that they were going over, whoever is using the machine probably went over a little bit. Again, does not affect the performance of the actual glove itself, but more one of those little things for detail. So actually putting the glove on, let me slide this on my hand real quick. Put that there, put my thumb in. Now these are meant not to be used with hand wraps, obviously. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the reason I got these is because I do a lot of strength training, and I do a lot of like box jumps, exercise, circuit training basically. So if you might be doing some kind of high interval training that involves hitting a heavy bag, or maybe you're doing some mitts with your trainer or your coach, and then they have you do some push-ups or do some battle ropes, and then you have to go do some burpees or whatever it is. It's kind of inconvenient if you have a pair of boxing gloves on to having to constantly remove them, or even worse, you have a nice pair of boxing gloves and you're doing push-ups on them, and now you're actually messing up the outside layer of the leather on your gloves, or destroying the foam on the inside. So this gives you that flexibility to be able to have your palm open. Let me put the right side on as well, without having to remove your gloves constantly to do whatever kind of strength training or circuit training that you may be doing. So that to me is the biggest benefit of these gloves, is being able to do that. Now my initial thoughts on the comfort is they're super comfortable. You put your hand in there, it doesn't feel like your hand is in an awkward position. One thing I did notice right off the bat, when I do open my hands, I feel a little bit of pushing in on the back of the fingers. It's not a huge deal. It's just more of, again, attention to detail as far as opening your hand right there. You can actually feel the edge of the glove right here against your hand, kind of pinching against that. And that's so when you make a fist and you roll your hand over, you can see that you get full coverage of your knuckles. So obviously when you're hitting the bag, you want to make sure you have full coverage and that your knuckle lands runs flush against the inner part of that knuckle padding right there. So you can see how it looks right there. My thumb placement is really nice. The leather material is really durable, but at the same time, it allows your hand to have a good amount of motion, or should I say a range of motion right there. And it's pretty much the same for both left and right side of my hand. Right here you can see, obviously it's not like a traditional boxing glove. You don't have a grip bar right there. You just have that leather strip that goes in there that is cut open for your fingers, and then you have the leather loop that goes around your thumb. One thing I also did notice is that you do have a little double bubble of padding right there, and I'm assuming that is for parrying or for protection of your thumb. So if something does land on this, it doesn't, you get a little bit of extra protection from that padding on the side of your thumb right there. And then you also have some padding on the back of the wrist, which gives it some stability and support, but again, as well for striking, if you somehow block and a kick comes in and you're putting your hands up to your face to block yourself from getting hit, the padding on the side here does a really nice job of absorbing that. So obviously I'm gonna have to try these out and test them to see how they do as far as impact goes, but from a design standpoint, looking at that, that's definitely a nice area of design there. You can see that the back of the hand right there has a nice hinge point right there, so it allows for some flexibility. So again, if you're using these for the ropes, and then you go into your boxing or hitting the bag, or if you go into your push-ups, you have your palms open, your palms are free. So again, the main component of this is being able to use your hands freely without having to remove your gloves. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how these perform on the bag. Looking at some of the other MMA gloves I've seen online, both through ringside or even title boxing or even ring to cage, I noticed that they didn't have this level of padding. Now you can see how much, I mean, that looks like almost 2 inches of padding right there. So if I were to, transform this into a boxing glove, it's almost like they decided to get the actual padding of a boxing glove and basically just compress it down and put it on an MMA glove. So obviously that's the reason why it's a hybrid glove, but you can see how much padding they actually put on your knuckle. So that's probably my favorite feature of the glove, mainly because I do primarily boxing. I have not dabbled into MMA yet, or grappling, but I do like that definitely like the feature of how they put that large amount of padding on there, and you can see it's pretty firm as well. It almost has kind of an injected molded foam feel to it with how firm it is. So I don't foresee this giving you any issues as far as discomfort while hitting the bag, and gives a nice good pop right there. So I definitely like the padding on that, and it feels good overall. So the inside liner, looking at this, you could also see that it has that Fighttips logo on the inside, and it uses kind of a smooth polyester moisture wicking liner on the inside there. And then of course the Velcro strap that goes through the inner loop right here to wrap around and then secure with the Velcro right there. You do have the Fighttips logo. That is a plastic logo that's embossed, has a nice texture to it, so the actual embossed stitching, it looks really good right there. If you do use these for sparring, I might recommend getting some tape to tape that over. It is pretty smooth, but just in case an edge pops out, the last thing you want to do is cut your partner open with the plastic. And that goes for really any boxing glove that has a tag or a plastic label on the wrist section of the glove. So I'd definitely be wary of that. But overall, the construction of these gloves looks really nice. I like the texture, the fit, the feel of the glove. Again, I got size medium, and these feel like they fit spot on. I don't feel like they're too big or too small. And my hand placement is really nice. The thumb is in a good, good position and spot. My top 4 fingers are in a good position. The only thing I would say that I would consider an area of opportunity is when you open your hand again. This little ledge, or should I say this corner of the padding right here, kind of pushes against the back of your finger. So maybe somehow make it to where it's softer, so when you put your hand up, it kind of gives it a little bit more cushioning and more a form-fitted feel. Either that, or maybe have some cutouts for the finger so that when you do extend your hand all the way open, your hand can kind of open all the way up. But again, that's just nitpicking it. Overall, I really like these gloves. They look to be something like I use in the gym, and especially for cross training and doing any kind of circuit training. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link for Fight Tips in the description box. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.